Welcome all, and thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to jump right back into episode 2, part 2, continuing the conversation we started in the previous episode about the old game, making points about worn-out traditions that have individuals and companies stuck. Thanks for being with us as we further our conversations around New Game, Old Game, powered by No Alumni. Let's dive right in.
Something I think good to talk about old game is linear careers, which means like I think we were taught, at least I was taught as a Gen Xer, like, just stay at the same place and just go here and retire. And that certainly didn't work. I've had to reinvent myself multiple times at this point. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but as a college graduated person, I think I said that horribly. They want you to specify eventually, right? You have to choose a specialty. And I think the danger in that has always been what happens when that specialty goes away. And again, we could do a whole episode on this someday, but a specialist versus a generalist. And I think we've thrown generalists throughout the years kind of under the bus, saying jack of all trades, master of none. Remember, like you hear that all the time. I think what's interesting, and I think probably done on purpose, is we don't hear the whole statement, is jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So generalists, I think, aren't genuinely, and generalists are problem solvers. Not that specialists can't be in a specific area, but knowing a lot about a lot makes you very valuable. And I think realizing that as a business, we don't just need a bunch of specialists. Maybe we have some people that can do a lot of different work and find joy and fulfillment in a lot of that work. And again, that's just another thing. And Matt, I'm thinking we could dig into that, and maybe certainly if you have something to say, we can do it. But there's so many good points here I'd like to get to before we get into the new game. Do you care if I run through them?
No, go for it.
Bring them out. We'll bring them out, and then I'll let you kind of respond, and then we'll maybe close it up here with the old game stuff. But certainly we're going to talk about this stuff a lot moving forward. Put your head down, wait your turn, right? We were told that, doing good is going to get you promoted up and up. And that might be true. But what does that even mean? And what does that look like? And as an organization, are we noticing those improvements? Are we, I think as a culture, are we, pouring into the people, and are they buying into something bigger than just the job? If that makes sense. So whether you work at a restaurant or do whatever you're doing, like, is there a purpose bigger than just that task? And are you conveying that to your people and in a real way, not fake or made up? It's got to be authentic. So I think giving people a why as to what they're doing, and really in a way, like, so say you work at a restaurant, let's go with that example. Matt, do you think, like, my idea would be like, yes, we're serving food, but we're bringing joy to people. We're filling their bellies, right? We're fueling their bodies to go win the day, right? I think that sounds corny, but also I think there's truth in that versus, I'm just a server at a restaurant. It's like, you're more than that. You can make someone's day as a server. And I don't know that you servers need to hear that. You brighten people's day when you're doing your job with joy and you're being fulfilled in your organization. And I don't know. I guess we could go down that rabbit hole, Matt. And I can also keep going down the list, whatever you want.
No, I just wanted to say about that and tie it to something you said earlier, which really resonated with me and stands out in the conversations that we are having in this New Game, Old Game podcast, is really bringing the human element to the fore. A couple minutes ago, you said kind of rehumanizing work. And I think that might be, I'm not sure, but that might be one of the most simple ways to articulate what we are all about as the New Game, Old Game podcast. And as we move forward and expand these conversations and bring other voices to the conversations, I just see that as really central. I see over the last 50, 100 years, I think work, the economy, the marketplace has squeezed out a lot of the margin that existed, has squeezed out a lot of the old values that used to exist, things like you were alluding to, Greg, like loyalty, like commitment, hard work. For the sake of the margin, I think those things have been really squeezed out. And I think as that's happened, we've been kind of dehumanizing work for a long time. And I don't know that we've done it even deliberately or so intentionally, but I think that's an undeniable result. And in your example, of course, like people go into restaurants in all different ways, shapes, and forms. They might be coming from a concert their kid just finished and having a celebratory little moment, or they might be coming from a funeral. They might be coming home from the hospital and visiting a loved one or caring for a loved one. You don't know. And so the way that you receive, a person as they walk into your restaurant's waiting area is important. The way that you serve them, meet their needs while they're sitting at the table that you've put them in, the way that you clear the table and say, have a nice day, the way that, that you prepare and serve their food, all of that can be deeply meaningful if we respect and value, again, kind of the human element of the work.
Yeah, I love that. I know it might sound hokey to people, and I think people playing old game are going to maybe roll their eyes at some of this, but I do think you're right. I think people, if you want to attract and keep this upcoming workforce, I think in an age where AI and, you watch a video on TikTok or Facebook, you're like, is this even real? My wife sent me a video the other day, Matt. It was like this puppies that were, or dogs picking their owners. And my wife's like, oh, she sent it to me. He's like, this made me cry. I'm like, Matt, this is AI, right? I mean, that's great. It made you cry. It was an interesting video, but in a day and age where we don't know what's real or what's not, I think bringing back the human element to any type of work, right? So say you're pouring concrete. There can be a reason why we're doing this. Obviously, it's to make money. We're not naive to that fact. Making money, getting the job done. This building needs concrete, right, to finish the rest of the build. But, think about it. Without the concrete, none of the rest of that building goes up. What an important part of the building process that concrete person is. Even the one finishing it. And it's not, and even the fact that you said even the one, it's not even the one. All of us have a role to play in this world, and it's all valuable, because without a part of the chain, the whole thing falls apart. So it is the human element. And I think it's as leaders, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, I think giving people within our care and within our organizations the ability to help us come up with those things, and also open ourselves up and be vulnerable. Like, what does our company really stand for? If it's just making money and, serving people some slop and they get in and get out, cool. Nothing wrong with that type of business. But I think, businesses that think differently, and I think it goes back, and a culture is, again, a buzzword and an overused word, but I think it's the only word really that could be used, is culture is a huge part of an organization that I think is going to be successful moving forward, or one that might struggle. And again, lots of thoughts on that. We could have a whole episode on that for sure.
Can I just throw in two quick thoughts?
Yeah.
I think thought number one is, I think some of the most insidious forms of old game work is when there's the lack of credibility or the lack of authenticity around it. So I think we could probably all think of an owner or an operator or a company that espouses or believes they're sort of embracing the new game, but really, when you look under the hood, it's just old game. It's just put in your time, don't speak, put your head down, work 60, 70 hours a week, don't ask questions, grind because that's what I did 30 years ago. Don't ask questions because that's how I did it 30 years ago. So I just want to say, I think the most insidious form of old game is real old game that's moving forward into this new world, new marketplace, and new economy that's pretending to be old game, that's pretending to be new game, right? So what I just want to call out is, if you're really prioritizing new game, if you're really bringing back the human element and putting a premium on how people are treated, putting a premium on culture, we'd encourage you to continue exploring those things and continue doing those things. And my my second and parallel encouragement is that if your old game strategy or if your business plan is about efficiency and it's really not going to incorporate the rehumanizing components or the cultural components of a great place to work, but you've got a decidedly uh, a strategic, clear, efficient business model or strategic operational plan that works for you, my encouragement there is just own that and just move forward in that, and um, don't proceed one way but call it another. I would just say the people that you serve, the customers that you serve, the people you employ, the independent contractors that you partner with, everybody's better off if there's a level of authenticity. And I think that's one of the things that I love about the millennial generation is that they've kind of forced the world, society, workplaces, and I know this could get eye rolls, and maybe some of those would be deserved, because it's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, and I'm not heaping uncalculated praise just left and right. But I think millennials have brought a value on authenticity, and so the simple way to state all this here, the point I'm trying to make is, let's be authentic. If we're new game and we want to push limits on returning to rehumanizing our team, the experience we deliver, the value we add, and the culture that we create, let's do that authentically. And if that's not the season we're in, if that's not the business we're running, let's do that authentically too. That's my big charge there. Sorry, Greg.
No, I love it. Don't be sorry. I think it's about time we get rid of every generation blaming the next for being this or that, because I think baby boomers, right, and they're aging out and they're getting to the point where there'll be less and less of them. It's the biggest generation, right? But there's value in what they know, and I think as Gen Z and whatever's past Gen Z and certainly millennials, right ahead of Gen Z, like there's a lot we can learn from them. And I think so, Gen Z and the millennials making fun of boomers. Okay, I get it. Haha, cool. But we all need to learn from one another. And that goes back to boomers and Gen Xers, taking a look at the Gen Z and the millennials and not just dismissing them or saying they're stupid or this or that, like coming together, bringing the best of all of us to make this world work, because it's not going to work with just one way. And I think that where we're at now, and again, I haven't looked up statistics, Matt, but I'm assuming most businesses at this point are owned by older millennials, Gen X, and the baby boomers. So, which is great, wonderful, and that will transition out as time goes on. But we all need each other and figure this out, because it's not just one way. We can take things from all the different generations and stop this negativity, because I don't know, businesses complain about it, but that's all they do. They're not doing anything about it. And I'm sick of the complaining, and I want to start helping do. Like, let's do something about it. Let's figure it out, because it is figure it outable. Whatever word. I think I just took your word, Matt. I just took word of the day. It is all figure outable if we truly want to figure it out within our organizations, right, and within our society. So that's a big part of the work we want to do here, certainly, and then just get the conversation going, maybe within your organizations too.
Yeah, that's why we're here, is we want to be a part of that discussion. Like we've said before, we don't have perfect answers, but we're committed to pursuing them, and we're committed to having those conversations and involving you and featuring you and promoting you to get where you really want to go. And that's really why we do this. One other call out I wanted to make is just that you better believe in this rapidly transforming world, especially the technological side of our world, the technological side of work. You've got to believe that there will, if there isn't already, and I know there is in certain pockets, and it's only going to grow and multiply so quickly, a premium on human experience, human service, and human connection. The unfurling and the proliferation of artificial intelligence, generative AI, and so much more, as that technology is being pushed out into the marketplace, as it's being adopted, as it's being incorporated into education. And trust me here too, we will have dedicated conversations around technology and AI. We will have experts join us in the conversation around artificial intelligence. We will talk deeply and probably numerous times about how AI will serve your businesses, how it can be leveraged for good in your businesses. And we believe that it is a revolutionary transformation in the world of work and in our personal lives. Just to go back to that funny video that Beth showed you about the puppies choosing their owners, there's no denying the broad, sweeping, transformational impact of AI. And what's also true is while that impact is happening, people are going to be hungry for and willing to pay for a human experience, whether that's getting their car serviced, their garage door fixed, a new building constructed, connecting with their doctor. I've already received a bunch of medical care where AI is in the office with my doctor and me along for the ride. And so we have an opportunity to hold both of these things carefully and strategically. Can we advance with this rapidly developing, seemingly boundless technology that is AI, and also hold with it what makes us human and deliver value to other humans in a way that honors them and raises them up? I think that's really what a lot of our work is centered around. And so I just want to plant the seed that if you're listening to this, I'd encourage you to get your brain working, get out a legal pad, and if you haven't done this already, daydream about how can you do both of those things? How can you advance the services and products that you offer and the ways that you add value? How can you advance those with AI and also make yourself distinct, unique, and exceedingly valuable because you're giving a human component with the technological advancements and not just sacrificing all human connection, all human values, all efforts to rehumanize for the sake of technology. So I think we have incredible opportunity as leaders, as educators, as parents, as owner operators, whatever the role is. I think we can do both of those things, and we will definitely carve a niche for ourselves if we're thinking about both the technology, the speed of the technology changes that will give us advantages, as well as the wave of new game thinking that will give us advantages as we continue to honor, dignify, and raise up the value of the people and the teams that we work with.
No, I think it's great. And you're kind of getting into the next segment, right? New game, which I think certainly AI is a part of it. So kind of finishing with this, old game is thinking and burying your head in the sand thinking, oh, AI is garbage. It's not good. It's bad. And certainly it could be all of those things. But because you think that and you bury your head in the sand or choose to, that's not going to make it go away. So you're either going to adjust or you are not going to adjust. So, old way is just thinking you can bury your head in the sand and just continue to do things as you always done them, thinking it's going to continue to work. And I think, I don't hope to see this, but I think you're going to be unpleasantly surprised if that's your take. So, maybe we end with that, Matt. Matt, as you were talking, you were very passionate. So if you guys hear like table noise, Matt was very passionate about his points, and they were very good points. So, but certainly, I think this was a great, at least introduction to the old game. Do you have any final thoughts? Because I'll be done if you're done, and then we can let our viewers rest their ears and come back for part 2, talking about the new game.
I just want to leave with this kind of analogy. I think this helps me a lot when I kind of close my eyes and reflect, and maybe our listeners will get something out of this too, is, take a quiet moment. Close your eyes is optional, but just take a quiet moment. And I'd say, think of a person or two that has really made an impact on your life. Could be professionally, it could be personally, or it could be in another way. And I would ask you to think about why and how that person or those people had an impact, a positive, profound impact on your life. And be honest about answering that. Be honest about reflecting on that. I would just say, in most of my experience, the answers to those reflections or the answers to those questions have not ever been about somebody's credential or their degree or even their professional resume, the things that the great things that they've accomplished professionally, but it's more about the heart, the character, the human elements, the integrity, the care, the generosity, the warmth, the ability to connect authentically in a way that's genuine. Not every person is going to be the same. Not everyone's story here, not everyone's experience here is going to be the same. I get that. But if we just would do this exercise, I think it would help us kind of think through in our own lives, how maybe have we experienced old game, new game? How do we think about old game and new game, perhaps in ways that we don't even recognize? So let's, maybe this week, let's take an opportunity to stop and pause and think about people who've impacted our lives. Let's be grateful for those people. And then let's think about what made those people special in our experience. And we might have a couple of new realizations as we do that, that'll be helpful as we move forward in these conversations.
Love it.
This is the end of episode 2, part 2 of the New Game, Old Game podcast, powered by No Alumni. You can follow along online at newgameoldgame.com, and we're also on social media. Please like, review, and share this podcast. It makes such a difference. Thanks for being along for the ride as we together explore this new game, old game world.